Welcome back to Faith Nation. Famine, mass executions, and attacks so brutal the images of blood can be seen from space. The civil war in Sudan now capturing the attention of the world as humanitarian groups and U.S.-led coalitions work to bring an end to the violence.
Yeah, one of those groups is World Relief, a Christian organization working to help the people there. Lanre Williams-Ayedun, Senior Vice President of International Programs, joins us now. Lanre, welcome. So if you could, just give us a brief history of what led to the atrocities we're seeing today.
Thank you. It's good to be here. So we've been working in Sudan as World Relief since 2003. We've been partnering with local communities through cycles of conflict and reconstruction. In April of 2023 was when the current crisis began. It's a political dispute amongst two different combatant parties that are looking for a political solution to the situation in the country for leadership.
The RSF forces have taken aim on healthcare facilities, in one case killing 460 patients and staff members at a maternity hospital. News outlets are also reporting that entire families are seen hanging from trees. Lanre, why has what's happening in Sudan not been getting more attention?
Let me start by saying that we are devastated by the reports that are coming out of Sudan. It is heartbreaking to see the effects on women and children and families across the country. I think one of the things is just a general lack of media attention for the situation that's happening in Sudan. Unfortunately, it is not until things get to this kind of devastating scale and impact that we start to see international media picking it up. But we have had local media, local activists, local communities that have been talking about the scale and the impact, the real devastation that has been happening on the ground and in the region for a long time. I think there's more that we need to do as media that is outside of the region to continue to highlight the needs that are happening, the scale of the devastation that's happening in Sudan.
Yeah, if you could just talk about some of those needs. What are you seeing there?
Yeah, we've seen that over 12 million people have been forced to flee their homes, looking for safety either inside of Sudan or crossing borders into neighboring countries. There are over 30 million people that are expected to need humanitarian assistance. And this is in the areas of healthcare, water, shelter, food in particular, and nutrition, as well as services that respond to the trauma that people have experienced, and particularly the violence that has happened for women and children.
So today, the Department of Homeland Security announced that it is terminating South Sudan's designation for temporary protected status. World Relief put out a statement in response saying, though this decision affects a relatively small number, it signals a breakdown in a promise that was made. Does that decision make you any less confident when it comes to the United States also announcing today that there's been a peace agreement brokered between the Rapid Support Forces and the Sudanese military?
We definitely support all diplomatic efforts to bring a ceasefire to the situation in Sudan and to allow full humanitarian access for humanitarian actors to be able to meet the needs that are happening in Sudan. The issue with temporary protected status for those that are in the U.S. is a disappointing change, particularly because most people are not able to safely return to a lot of places in South Sudan that they've been able to have refuge in the U.S. And we hope and pray that that decision might be reversed and that people would be able to be safe inside of the U.S. The other thing that we need to remember is that the U.S. has also had a refugee ceiling that is at the historic lowest that we've had. And so we urge the administration to increase the ceiling so that more people who are in conflict areas and seeking refuge would be able to come into the U.S. I think that we can hold these two things in tension. We welcome the diplomatic aims to bring ceasefire and peace in Sudan. And we also want to lament and encourage a change for refugees that are admitted into the U.S.
Yeah. In the time we have left, tell us what World Relief is doing to help and how Christians can be praying for those in Sudan.
World Relief has been working in Sudan since 2003. As I mentioned, we've worked alongside communities to support healthcare and clean water, protection for women and children. We want to continue to do that work. We ask that Americans and Christians around the world would educate themselves about the situation in Sudan, that they would be praying for a ceasefire, for a lasting peace to come to the region. We also ask that people would continue to support the U.S. efforts to bring a diplomatic solution to the conflict that's happening, and also advocate for additional funding. As I mentioned, over 30 million people who need humanitarian assistance. The funding that's available right now is a fraction of what is needed. And so giving to response efforts would be wonderful as well.
All right, Lanre Williams-Ayedun, Senior Vice President of International Programs at World Relief. Thank you so much.